4 rings, the all-time leading scorer, 4 MVPs, and the greatest hairline comeback of all time. LeBron has gone to war against countless incredible teams over the years, sometimes losing to them, but many times coming out on top. So who are the franchises that were the most demoralized by LeBron and tore it all down as a consequence of their failure against him? On the other hand, which teams beaten by him managed to bounce back and go on to greater things? Today we'll be revisiting the most notable victims of LeBron James and analyzing what happened to them following their defeat.
Has LeBron's postseason career been underrated?
Totally underrated. LeBron James is eviscerating the Raptors right now.
LeBron James is their kryptonite. I mean, that's what it is.
Underdog? Well, right.
Me? I don't think so, but me either. I would never be an underdog.
While LeBron's first tenure with the Cleveland Cavaliers from 2003 to 2010 is often remembered for its lack of a championship, there were plenty of postseason moments that showcased his legendary potential. The first example of this came in his playoff debut in 2006 against the Washington Wizards. In the closeout Game 6 with the Cavs up 2, Gilbert Arenas, the star guard for the Wizards, was at the line for 2 free throws in crunch time with his team up 1. LeBron walked over to him, tapped him, and said, "You missed this, you know who's going to end the game." This was a reference to Arenas' beef with Cavs player Damian Jones. Arenas had been taunting Jones the entire series about the money he owed him from their many gambling sessions at LeBron's condo.
So when he whispers, "You know who's gonna hit it," everybody assumed it was him. I knew what he was talking about, and I think the thought went into my head. They really gonna put David Jones in and let him do a shot, and I just missed.
Sure enough, Arenas missed a pair of the line, and Jones hit the game winner to send the Cavs to round 2. LBJ called it. On top of this fire trash talk, James also had a monster series, scoring 36 points per game. This wasn't the only time Bron destroyed the Wizards. In fact, it happened 3 years in a row. 2006 was the first, while similar defeats occurred in 2007 and 2008. LeBron took all the pleasure in making the Wizards and their all-star guard Gilbert Arenas and doormat and a step on in 3 straight rounds of the series. This consistent humiliation forced the Wizards to tear it all down and enter a rebuild. When one thinks of the Detroit Pistons in the 2000s, they think of historically great defense and multiple championship runs that resulted in the ring. What many forget is that LeBron put a huge dent in the team's final few years of dominance. While it's true that the 2007 Detroit Pistons were already on the decline due to their loss of Ben Wallace in free agency, it was clear that they were still a team capable of winning it all. This was further proven in the 2007 Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavs, where Detroit was in prime-time position to take a 3-2 lead at home in Game 5. In the first 4 games, LeBron had some nice moments, but in Game 5, he went from great to transcendent, cooking up one of the best performances in playoff history. On the road, he scored 48, including 25 straight points from the 4th quarter all the way to the second overtime. He hit the game winner on top of this, a superhuman showing against a phenomenal defensive team. This was when the Michael Jordan comparison started being validated. The Cavs ended up winning the series in 6, knocking off the Pistons. It was a huge blow to Detroit, as they were looking to make their 3rd finals appearance in 4 years. But Bron stopped them dead in their tracks. As a finishing touch, he swept the Pistons again 2 years later when they were completely washed. Detroit's decline as a contender had less to do with LeBron, and more to do with the aging roster and slow loss of pieces each offseason. However, it can't be denied just how dejecting that 2007 series was to their championship hopes. All this occurred when James was 22, and it was just the beginning of his reign of terror. The 2010s would come to be the time where he would deny just how dejecting that 2007 series was to their championship hopes. All this occurred when James was 22, and it was just the beginning of his reign of terror. The 2010s would come to be the time where he would establish his dominance. During this decade, there was one group in particular that LeBron took a liking to beating down on. That team was none other than the Boston Celtics, a hated rival that tormented LeBron more than any other in the early part of his career. In James's first Cavs stint, the Celtics successfully destroyed his title hopes in 2008 and 2010. If there was any one team that was circled on LeBron's calendar for the remainder of the time, it was the Boston Celtics. And boy, did he take things personally with them. After losing to the Celtics twice in his first 7 years, he would go on to face them 5 more times in the postseason. Shockingly, he won 5. The first of these battles came in 2011, where LeBron's newly established Big Three in Miami beat the Celtics Big Three in 5. This series was a symbolic moment for LeBron's career. He finally broke the chains, dismantling the Pierce-Garnett-Allen trio that had haunted him for years. Most remembered from this series was how it ended. In Game 5, LeBron single-handedly went on a 10-0 run for the Heat, embarrassing the Celtics with clutch threes and fast-break dunks. He taunted them after each field goal, sending a message to the city of Boston that the days of him not having enough help were gone. But while this 2011 semifinal series may have been the most impactful of their plans, the 2012 Eastern Conference Final Series between these two teams would triumph all. In 2011, the Celtics never really stood a chance, but in 2012, they were more motivated than ever, and came just 1 win shy of their third finals appearance in 5 years. The Celtics jumped out to a 3-2 lead, stealing Game 5 in Miami thanks to a Paul Pierce game winner over LeBron. The stakes were now at their highest, and if Bron and company got eliminated, all hell would break loose. It would have been a disgrace for James to fall short of a ring once again, especially considering he had infamously choked to the Dallas Mavericks just 1 year prior in 2011. On top of this, an L here would have ensured the splitting of the Heat's Big Three. It was make it or break it for the King, but he responded in the greatest way possible.
LeBron defenders and apologists were starting to doubt if he was made of the right stuff. And they went over on that night to watch what was about to transpire. The Heat won that game by 19 points because LeBron dominated from start to finish with 45 and 15. Wait, 45 and 15 rebounds? That was, in most people's eyes, the greatest game he ever played, facing the most pressure he'd ever faced.
LeBron scored an incredible 45 points in Game 6, and the timing of this couldn't have been any better. This amazing show set things up for a Game 7 in Miami that the Heat won handily. This 2012 series against Boston featured perhaps the highest level of pressure any superstar had faced in basketball. For LeBron to respond in the way he did only cemented his greatness further. As for the Celtics, this elimination was the nail in the coffin for their Big Three. By this point, Garnett, Pierce, and Allen were starting to run out of gas. They were aging vets. 2012 was their last chance at a ring. Ray Allen must have liked what he saw, because he joined the Heat in that year's offseason. As for Garnett and Pierce, they went on one last run with the squad that ended in a round 1 loss. Boston desired to rebuild, so the two stars were traded in the summer of 2013 to Brooklyn, where they lost in the playoffs to, you guessed it, the King had claimed another victim. This may have been LeBron's last rodeo against the Big Three Celtics, but it wouldn't be the last time he beat this franchise in the postseason. Going back to 2012, following the Heat's elimination of the Celtics in the conference finals, one more adversary stood in the way of LeBron's first ring. Meeting him in the 2012 finals from the Western Conference was one of the most talented trios the league had ever seen, the OKC Thunder. When the 2012 OKC Thunder are discussed today, it's usually in the context of how they squandered the Big Three of James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook. Their failure to beat the King in the 2012 finals has much to do with that splitting. On the surface, this series may look like a clean and relatively easy 4-1 victory for the Miami Heat, but in reality, 3 out of the 4 Thunder losses came by under 6 points thanks to the Heat's flawless crunch time execution. What many forget was that OKC was actually favored by most sports media outlets to beat the Heat, but Miami's Big Three overwhelmed them with their experience. LeBron averaged 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 dimes in this series, outdueling KD and winning his first championship. The result of this series would change NBA history forever. Had the Thunder won this ring, James Harden would remain on the team. The reason he was traded to begin with was because the Thunder refused to pay Harden a max contract. Since they lost in the finals and Harden played poorly, letting him go is more understandable. But had they won, there would have been zero excuse or justification not to pay up. LeBron winning this championship prevented a future OKC dynasty. The Thunder would never again make the Finals under Kevin Durant. What looked like a surefire championship core was wasted. Why? Because the Thunder's ownership was cheap, but also because they just couldn't beat LeBron and the Heat. Paul George has been on a handful of teams in his career and has put together quite the resume of achievements. Though for many NBA fans, his time with the Indiana Pacers remains his most remembered for his incredible playoff runs. The rivalry he and the Pacers had with LeBron and the Heat was incredible. In 2012, these two teams faced off for the first time in the conference semis. Indiana jumped out to a 2-1 lead and hosted Game 4 at home with all the momentum in the world. Instead, it was LeBron and Wade who exploded, combining for 70 points and dismantling the Pacers to tie the series in 2. Indiana quickly realized that the lights were too bright, dropping the next 2 games to lose the series. In Paul George's 7 seasons with the Pacers, the team reached their highest level of success in 2013 and 2014. They advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals both times in this stretch, and came incredibly close to making an NBA Finals appearance. But each year they found themselves at the conference finals. The Miami Heat stood in their way and promptly defeated them. 2013 was the most competitive of the two. The Heat won in 7 thanks to James's 29 points per game average. The Pacers were an elite defensive team anchored by Roy Hibbert, who was actually a good player back then, but LeBron destroyed them. James's best moment easily came in Game 1, where he drove past George for the game-winning layup in overtime. It's an iconic moment, and it haunts the Pacers to this day. The Heat ultimately managed to scrape by in 7, blowing the Pacers out at home to seal their NBA Finals trip. 1 year later, in 2014, they struggled far less, winning in 6, with 3 out of the 4 victories coming in double-digit fashion. Although the Paul George-led Pacers posed as a strong threat to the Heat on multiple occasions, they were never able to muster up the momentum to eliminate them. A Paul George-like injury and poor management led to growing dissatisfaction from PG, who eventually requested a trade in 2017 following yet another playoff exit to LeBron. Even when George was traded for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis shortly thereafter, the LeBron nightmare didn't end. He beat Indiana in round 1 of the 2018 playoffs in 7, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. LeBron eliminated the Pacers a mind-boggling 5 times in the 2010s, preventing 2 finals appearances. Whether it was a young and upcoming team like OKC and Indiana, or a veteran experienced opponent like the Big 3 Boston Celtics, it didn't matter. OBJ triumphed all. In fact, the Thunder and the Pacers weren't the only 2 teams led by a rising superstar that James beat as a member of the Miami Heat. Paul George and Kevin Durant were exciting players, but when they played James in the playoffs, none of them had yet captured an award quite as prestigious as the MVP. That honor was given to none other than Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP in NBA history, who played LeBron at the peak of his powers in the 2011 Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron, who came second in first place votes, took this personally.
Bro, like, these refs are actually on me, bro.
Against the top seed in the East, but LeBron made it a point of emphasis to lock Derrick Rose.
These refs are actually on me, bro. Like, and oh my. Good fucking rebound, bro. Come on. Fuck you, 2K. Rebound. Bang. Why aren't you making a 3? That's exactly what we needed. it goes to overtime.
You cannot catch the. Oh, missed one.
Oh my god. Shoot.
Q2K, actually, Q2K.